sabrinasalvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. Salvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. 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 I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. Sabrina Salvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. Doobie-doobie-doo. All right. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sabby Sabs Podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you're new, I do want to let you know that Sabby Sabs Podcast is a part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there once a month for our monthly roundtable, and you can catch me here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble, and welcome back, guys. We have a big show for you tonight. The Sunday live show is back. A lot of things happened over the weekend, and we're going to get into all of that. Tonight's theme is what's done in the dark, and I think you'll see why I chose that theme for tonight's show. We're going to bring in our special guest first, but first and foremost, I do want to go ahead and show you the thumbnail so you can see what we are discussing tonight, ladies and gents. Tonight, we are discussing Erika Kirk, the politician. Say it ain't so. Say it isn't so. Oh, we have some news for you about this, ladies and gentlemen. Something else again. Erika is not who she seems to be. Things are not what they seem. We're also going to discuss, if you guys haven't heard about this, one of the most damning things from the Epstein files is this relationship with a guy by the name of Leon Black. We're going to get into him, what was said about him in the Epstein files, and how this connects to the Trump administration, because we'll tell you who Leon Black's son is, and all these pieces are going to start to fall together. We're also discussing, somehow I missed this one, and big shout out to the person who sent this to me over the weekend. Ghislaine Maxwell apparently also has a different topic mentioned about her in the Epstein files that has nothing to do with trafficking, but everything to do with September 11th, which I find very, very suspect. We're going to get into Ghislaine Maxwell's connection with this 9/11 commission, which is really bizarre. We're also going to discuss, if you haven't heard about this, Uncle Luke, did he step in it? I don't know. Uncle Luke from the rap group 2 Live Crew has been put on blast. You're going to get to see both sides of this. People are saying that Uncle Luke stated before that he was at a Mar-a-Lago event before in the past. And we're going to get into all of that. He is now walking back these statements. How this could or could not implicate Donald Trump, we're going to get into the midst of all of that. And last but not least, our special guest is Tara Reade. I think Tara might be having some connection issues. I know she is abroad. We'll see if she's able to come back in. But Tara has said quite a bit to me behind the scenes about the way that these files are being handled. And also, of course, the way that people are choosing to stand up for the perpetrators and shame the victims. So there's a lot that is going on, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I do want to say, I hope that everyone had a great Valentine's Day. I hope you had good times with your loved one or with your friends. If you're single and you had a Galentine's Day or whatever, I hope you had a great Valentine's Day, ladies and gents. Again, the theme is what's done in the dark. And you know what follows that is will be brought to the light. And so hopefully, I think you'll see on tonight's show that these things that have been done in the dark are now being brought to the light. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much for your support. Really do appreciate you, fam. All right. Thank you to everyone who is a Sabby patron. If you're interested in being a patron, I do have 5 categories you can choose from. We have the ultimate, we have the Sabinators. Don't forget about those Sabsters. I think they're pretty cool as well. We also have a group called Sabbies. We cannot forget about them, also holding down the fort. And last but not least, we have the members. That's right. All of their names are listed here, ladies and gents. And you can also see their names scrolling across the bottom of the screen there on the ticker throughout the show. And I believe we shouted out Ricky last time, but if we didn't, welcome Ricky Burns, who is a new Sabby patron, ladies and gents. So I want to start off by saying this. Let me go ahead and go to the next one here. Everything that you are seeing right now, all this information that's being revealed, not just from the Epstein files, but from everything, right? Whether it's been Israel's involvement here in the United States, the geopolitical realm of things, whether it's been the Epstein files, whether it has been you just being, fooled in ways and are just starting to see things for what they really are. Eric said something last live stream that it's getting to the point now where you just cannot keep these secrets. More information is being revealed. And I got to tell you, I think the top researchers are actually the people on X, not the FBI. If you want some information to be discovered, you need to reach out to people on X, formerly Twitter, because they are really going at it. Also, the TikTokers, for whatever, like they're really good at being resourceful and diving into information and trying to find out, what's going on there. I think you got a better chance of getting your case solved by people on social media than you do with the FBI. That's just where we're at right now, ladies and gents. So what I want to say to you is this, we are in a time where, because we do have all these different social media platforms, etc., yes, more things are being revealed to us. And yes, it is getting more difficult to keep these secrets, to keep things from us. So the answer from that the government is going to use is censorship. That's why you see them trying to implement these age verifications on Discord or other platforms. That's why you see, I don't know if everybody knows this, but it was just recently announced the DOJ, they're trying to go after Code Pink, the organization Medea Benjamin is a part of. They're also trying to go after the People's Forum. They are calling them domestic terrorist groups. So they are trying to find any way that they can possible to shut down that type of discord, right? Over the weekend, on my Valentine's Day, I did find out that apparently the new app Upscrolled was removed from Google Play Store. They're trying to stop you from going to other places. So a community of people online rallied together, and that community said, let's, basically tweet and yell at Google and tell them to reinstate the Upscrolled app. And guess what? The app is back on Google Play Store. Why am I telling you this? Because it goes to show you the collectiveness that we have as a group. It goes to show you that when we come together as a group of people on the outside, we can get things done. There are more of us than there are of them. And luckily, people over the weekend realized that and figured that out. Guy Christensen, also known as Your Favorite Guy on X, who has been pretty much deplatformed almost everywhere, except for Upscrolled. His YouTube channel was removed. He contacted many of us privately and said, please share this and tweet this out and put pressure on YouTube. So we all got together virtually and did that. His channel is now back up. None of these things were implemented or reinstated through politics. None of these things were re-implemented because a politician made it happen. These things were re-implemented because of the power of the grassroots on the outside. And so when people ask, what do we do? That's what you do. You work together on the outside with the grassroots. So I hope that that gives everybody hope. And I hope that that makes people realize that there are things that you can do. But if you do wait for politicians to do it, yeah, you're going to be disappointed a lot. I've been there. You've been there. The power is with the people. Okay, let's get to some of the comments here, ladies and gents. Shout out to David Boyd for becoming a new member. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to Ortho Tech for becoming a new member. Whoop, woo. We give them whoop whoops over here. Thank you for the super chat, One Box. I am late in posting this, but I have been coming across a few unique creatures who may be worthy of a Valentine's gift from me in the future. That is so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Cammie Roundtree, for becoming a new member. Give Cammie a big whoop, whoop. And thank you, Roger. Beware of Section 230. Not even a CBI can insulate us. Yeah, I've been telling people about that. And thank you, One Box One. I knew they would try that against Upscroll. Yeah. Yeah. And they did. They did. Okay. I think Tara may be having connection issues. So let's go ahead and go to the first news story, ladies and gents. If you haven't had a chance to do so, do me a solid and smash that like button. Thank you. And if you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. Let's keep it moving and grooving. 1 second. Let me go ahead and message her to let her know. A second here. Yeah, because I don't want her to, I know she can't, she's having connection issues. They're having issues there where she is. So I know she was here, but then she lost connection. Okay. All right, ladies and gents, let's keep it moving and grooving. Let's go ahead and go to the first news story we have here. This is probably one of the most damning stories I've covered this year. This is a big one. Oh boy. Many of us have been skeptical about 9/11 for a long time. Many of us. We've had questions. But when you did ask those questions, you were called conspiracy theorists, right? You are seeing that this is something that is happening on both sides of the aisle, where people on the left are asking questions, people on the right are also asking questions. Tucker Carlson just recently did like a docuseries about this as well. Now, someone sent this to me over the weekend, and I just happened to glance through my emails and saw this. One of the things that I missed in the Epstein files was this email to Ghislaine Maxwell about September 11, which I found very, very odd. And Tara, are you having connection issues? Let me hold it here. Tara, if you can check the private chat, because if you're having connection issues, we may have to record it. Yeah, I don't even think she can hear me. Eric, can you message her in the background? Thank you. Okay. All right. Corey, if you can cut that part out when we do the clip, thanks. Okay. We need to start with Ghislaine Maxwell, because one of the things I want to remind you is something that Virginia Giuffre said about Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's go ahead and get started with this here. So Virginia Giuffre, before she died, she said Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster, even worse than Epstein. Listen to this.
She is a monster. She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious, she was evil, and she was a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
So that right there from Virginia, I just wanted you to hear that before we get into that email. Because I think for whatever reason, Ghislaine Maxwell has painted herself to be just some sidekick of Jeffrey Epstein, or she was coerced into doing these things, or she didn't get her hands as dirty. But one of the things I wanted to remind you is that Virginia Giuffre continued to say that Ghislaine Maxwell was actually even worse than Jeffrey Epstein. She also went on to say that Ghislaine Maxwell participated in the abuse. Her job was not just recruiting these girls, and she's not the only one, as we see in these files, that was recruiting these girls. So hold on to that for just a second, okay? Because now I want to show you something else. There was a painting that Jeffrey Epstein had, and some of you may have seen this picture before, but if you have not, pay close attention to this. Shout out to 99% Johnny. Epstein had a painting in his home of George W. Bush sitting on the rug of the Oval Office with 2 paper airplanes and 2 collapsed Jenga towers, just in case anybody was wondering what could possibly be worse than what they've already revealed. So take a good look at this picture here. If you have not seen it, here you go. Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, okay? And here are the Jenga towers right here on the floor. There was a rapper back in the day, and he had a song called Why. I want to say it was Jada. Was it Jada Kiss? I forget. But he had a song called Why. And one of the things he said in the song was, why did this? Why did that? Why did Bush knock down? He was called a conspiracy theorist and all different types of names. But here you see this painting that Jeffrey Epstein had, and people have been asking questions for quite some time. Those who want answers have been asking. Check out what is in the Epstein files. Check this out. Shout out to SCIF. Epstein documents expose Ghislaine Maxwell being invited to become a member of the Shadow Commission of 9/11. Why would they ask her? And what connection does she even have to September 11th that wouldn't be tied to something nefarious is the million-dollar question. So I want to show it to you here. Check this out, because she did respond. RE Shadow Commission. Any interest in being on the Shadow Commission of 9/11? The membership list is secret. Rough cut at, and then there's a web address here, which I tried to copy and paste. It doesn't work. Let me know. Regards, Ed Epstein. And then you see there is a website for Ed J. Epstein there. It's called edwardjepstein.com. Now, I tried to, copy and paste that as well. Nothing comes up. Interestingly enough, I Googled Edward J. Epstein. What I saw was a journalist that went by that name, but I couldn't actually have any or find any concrete proof that this is the same person. So I didn't want to put that information up here, and I have no proof that that is the exact same person. But I found that very interesting. And she responds to Ed, thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I cannot be on the Shadow Commission. And that was at 7:02 p.m. when she responded. That was January 5th, 2003. Ghislaine Maxwell. You can see another one here. Ed Epstein invited Ghislaine Maxwell. Here it is. Again, this is from the justice.gov website. Again, I don't know how I missed this, guys, but someone sent it to me over the weekend. RE Shadow Commission. You see this here? January 2003. Any interest in being on the Shadow Commission of September 11th? The membership list is secret. So, first of all, let's come back up here to this picture of Ghislaine, because we got to talk. Ghislaine Maxwell is not a politician, wasn't a politician at that point in time. She was basically a socialite who worked for her daddy's publishing company. Why would someone invite a socialite who is from the UK to be a part of a September 11 commission, shadow commission, where the membership list is secret? Anybody? Don't you find that to be a little bit strange? Of all the people to invite to be a part of this shadow commission about September 11th, why would you invite a socialite to be a part of that? You see, these Epstein files, I want to be very clear. It's not just about trafficking. As we go through these files, we find out more and more information. A lot of it involves corruption. It's not just about trafficking. It's about foreign policy. It's about banking. It's about the music industry. It's about the movie industry. It's about silencing activists. There's so much information that is included here. But this is probably one of the most damning things that's there that many may have missed. And to connect to that, there's something else that is in the Epstein files about Ghislaine Maxwell connecting to that point. Shout out to TRT World. After September 11, Ghislaine Maxwell mailed 42 people, imagining the eradication of all Arabs by 2032. Ghislaine Maxwell, disgraced British socialite and accomplice of convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, emailed dozens of contacts wishing eradication of Arabs worldwide, according to newly unveiled files published by the United States. So you have to remember, Ghislaine Maxwell also was a Zionist. Her father, which we'll get into in just a second, also had communication and ties to the Mossad, also a Zionist. And we know Jeffrey Epstein, also a Zionist. Let's go on more here. Here it is. Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who was found guilty in 2021 for her role in helping Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls and is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence, circulated an email to approximately 42 contacts after September 11, imagining the destruction of Arabs worldwide. The content of the email was a fictional narrative set in the year 2032, depicting a world where the Arabs had been eradicated globally. Here it is. In this imagined future, a father tells his son about a historical event called September 11. The son asked what Arabs were, implying they no longer exist. The father explains that Arabs were a people who carried out September 11 attacks, after which the world united to eliminate them entirely. Now, pay close attention. It doesn't say Gazans, Palestinians, Lebanese, Syrians. It says Arabs, which would also include Jordan, Saudi Arabia. You get where I'm going with this? In a newly released email with no context attached to the document, Maxwell wrote to a contact, the Invisible Man, writing, "It is the year 2032 when a father and his son walk the streets of Lower Manhattan, approaching the site where the World Trade Center used to be in the end of the 20th century. The father sighs and comments to think that right here used to be the Twin Towers. The son, not understanding, asks his father, "What are the Twin Towers?" The father smiles and looks at the son and explains the Twin Towers were two huge buildings that used to be here until 2001 when the Arabs destroyed them. The son looks up to his father and asks, "And what are the Arabs?" Reports suggest Maxwell sent the email to dozens of her contacts, including billionaire Thomas Pritzker, among other elites in the Epstein-Maxwell network. Thomas Pritzker is J.B. Pritzker's brother. You know, the guy that many people have been saying should run for president? There's a number of people saying J.B. Pritzker, the billionaire, he's a nice billionaire. He should run for president. So one of the contacts she sent this to was his brother. And she was contacted to be a part of a shadow commission of September 11th. One of the things that we know is that Maria Farmer said being in that space was that Ghislaine and Jeffrey and a lot of the people that hung out with him were very racist, elitist people. So people have to understand what you're dealing with here. Ghislaine Maxwell was not just someone who was Epstein's girlfriend, one of the girlfriends, because there was another one that was just his girlfriend, and she felt like she had to do this to please his sexual desires. According to Virginia Giuffre, she was the mastermind. And this is the woman right now asking for a pardon. And that brings me to this part here. I mean, when you look at it, look at her background a little bit. Again, socialite. She was a British socialite. This is a woman who never had to work hard, never had to fight for anything, was given everything. She was a naturalized American citizen. She retains both French and British citizenship. See all this? And she was living right here in the United States at one point. Now we're going to get into her father in just a second. Even when you look at her career, she was a prominent figure in London's social scene in the 1980s. She founded a women's club named after the original Kit Kat Club and was the director of Oxford United Football Club during her father's ownership. She also worked at The European, a publication her father had established. Again, daddy, daddy, daddy. She didn't have to work for anything. Everything was handed to her. When we go further here, because I want to make the connection about her father. Listen to what this gentleman said on Tucker Carlson's show about her father right before he died. Robert Maxwell. Listen to this.
They both say that Maxwell, what happened, you talk about him being murdered, is that, you know, once you start reaching into your company's pension fund to help out Israeli intelligence, like, well, I can do it for this personal reason too. You know, I'll pay it back. I'll always pay it back, of course. And he starts doing that and he gets himself into a lot of trouble. And by the end of his life, he was going to be, his empire was going to be brought down. He was going to be bankrupt and probably going to prison. I mean, he had robbed his company's pension fund blind for years at this point. And it was all getting to the point where it was just no longer solvent. It couldn't be hidden anymore. And what Ben Menashe says is that he went to his friends in the Mossad and he told them, look, I've done all this for you over the years. I have done so much for you. You are going to get me out of this somehow. One way or another, whether you give me the money, whether you deal with the issue in Britain, you're going to get me out of this. And he got a little too aggressive about it, Ben Menashe says. And, you know, shortly after that, they found him floating off of his yacht near the Canary Islands.
And there was a satellite photo. I don't know if it was ever introduced in court, but I believe this is true. A satellite photo taken that showed a boat with, you know, the belief is that the boat was boarded by some group that threw him off.
Yeah,
and he had injuries.
Three different doctors couldn't agree on the cause of death.
Right.
And,
it was not a drowning. And he had injuries consistent to a shoulder, consistent with a struggle.
He was a big guy. He would have fought.
Yeah.
So did you hear that part right there? So Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously, at one point, he tried to push back on the Mossad. I think this is when he needed money. He was running into money issues, and he tried to push back on them. And the next thing you know, he's gone. He's dead. So one of the things that we learned from Whitney Webb's journalism is that her father was also connected to Mossad. Deeply, deeply entrenched. Now, hold on to this, because now we come to Howard Lutnik and 9/11. See, we're going to connect all of these things together, because Howard Lutnik, who is also in the Epstein files multiple times, who testified recently saying that, yes, he went to that island, who is a part of the Trump administration, I want to show you what he said after 9/11. This is getting very suspicious. Shout out to Gen X Girl for this one. Why did Howard Lutnik lie about September 11? Howard Lutnik said his life was spared on 9/11 because he dropped off his son at Horace Mann School for his first day. Employees at Park Avenue Synagogue, PAS, said he lied because he dropped off his son at PAS, not Horace Mann. You can see some screenshots here. Back in the day, 9/11 trauma still haunting dreams of Cantor Fitzgerald, CEO. That was Lutnik back then. Escorting his son Kyle to his first day of kindergarten at the exclusive Horace Mann School. Again, this was September 9th, 2011. Let's go to the next one. Howard Lutnik on 9/11 and remembering what is important. One quick to emerge piece of Park Avenue Synagogue 9/11 lore was that the life of Howard Lutnik, CEO Cantor Fitzgerald, had been spared by stroke of luck. Lutnik had been at PAS that morning, dropping off his son for the first day of the synagogue's nursery school. So why did Howard Lutnik lie and say that he dropped off his son at Horace Mann School? Anybody? Anybody? Sounds a little bit strange to you. Sounds a little bit strange to me. Listen to him yourself. See, everything is coming out. This is what Eric was talking about, how you're not going to be able to keep any secrets. Watch Howard Lutnik lie.
The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnik, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck. Mr. Lutnik was taking his son to his first day of kindergarten. Now he says he has a very different view of business and life. He spoke to our business correspondent, Terry Keenan, earlier today.
We are really focused on trying to make sure that our 700 families who lost a member of their family are taken care of. And so I spent the day yesterday and part of the day in talking to our insurance company. Our insurance company, CNA, told me that they would, they told our guys, they didn't tell me, and then they told me that that they were willing to treat this as an accidental death, which means that they would double the policy for all of my victims upstairs and all of us, and so that added $35 million to that group upstairs. But the sad thing is, so $35 million sounds like so much money, but if you divide it by 700 people, it's only $50,000. It's not enough to. So that's why we need to work on our foundation.
Yeah, and you've set up that foundation. We'll give the information to our viewers. Explain the needs of these young families. Many of your traders were just in their 30s.
We've got the average employee we have is around 33 years old. So they're just married. We have probably a dozen women who are pregnant with babies who just lost their husbands. We've got lots and lots and lots and lots. We must have more than 1,000 children, 1,500 children who've now lost one of their parents, and they've lost the breadwinner that makes all the money. So we are dedicated to raising money for our foundation, which will go to take care of and try to help the victims of this horrible tragedy and try to make their lives a little easier, whether that pays for, health insurance for a long, long time, or gets them some extra money, or makes their lives even this much easier. I mean, that's what we're doing, and that's what we're driving for. And it's called the Cantor Fitzgerald Foundation. And, anyone who can make a donation to it is going to help a lot of people who really, really need it.
So that was Howard Lutnik shortly after September 11th. So now we're seeing this connection here. So all these people are connected together. We know that Howard Lutnik was Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor. We know that Howard Lutnik testified admitting that he went to the island. So he was friends with Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein. We now know that Ghislaine was asked to be a part of a shadowy commission for September 11th. And looking at this, we now know that Howard Lutnik lied when he said that he took his child to the Horace Mann School when he actually took his child to PAS. Guys, there's only so many coincidences. And when you just see how all these people are connected, this is what I was saying. It goes deeper than this. Is not just about trafficking. When you're going through these files, you start to see that this is mainly about corruption. These people are rich, they're corrupt, and they're doing evil things. And they've been getting away with it for years. This didn't just start. Years. One of the things that I saw as well, the meeting. Let's go to when she met Jeffrey Epstein, just to show you how long this has been going on. Accounts differ on when Maxwell first met the American financier Jeffrey Epstein. According to Epstein's former business partner, Stephen Hoffenberg, Robert Maxwell introduced his daughter to Epstein in the late 1980s. The Times reported that Maxwell met Epstein in the early 90s at a New York party following a difficult breakup with Count Gianfranco Ciccone. She was with a count. These people live in a world we'll never be a part of. You see this? Maxwell and Epstein were associated with each other by February of 1993. So we know that this, at least at the very latest, goes back to the 90s. That's how long they were operating together. And I do not believe that Jeffrey Epstein is the only one. And you shouldn't either. But this was a global network that was happening, ladies and gentlemen. Now you see they just reached out of all the people in the world. They happened to reach out to a socialite and ask her to be a part of the 9/11 shadowy commission. Now all the people who had their conspiracies, as it was called, about 9/11 don't look so kooky, do they? We talked before about the video that was shown of the dancing Israelis. We talked about that over and over again. The number of times we had to ask ourselves, when they said, oh, we're going to war with Iraq, why are we going to war with Iraq? When they said the pilots who were flying the plane, or they became pilots, the men who were flying the plane were from Saudi Arabia. Why was the U.S. going to war with Iraq and not Saudi Arabia? None of these things made any sense. But if you asked those questions during that time, you were considered a kook. Pictures can tell 1,000 words. And if we go back to that painting, it really makes you wonder, why did Jeffrey Epstein have this painting of George W. Bush holding paper airplanes and Jenga pieces on the floor? Why? Why did he have this? What are they trying to tell you? We showed you Maria Farmer's paintings, some of them, we showed them recently. What is she trying to tell you? Sometimes people try to tell you through their art. Even Cenk Uygur here, he came back and he has changed his tune. Cenk Uygur said, I no longer believe the official 9/11 story. 2 paper passports did not burn and were found on the rubble, but it was so hot. WTC 7 burned down across the street. Nonsense. It's time to look for who gained from 9/11. Our government doesn't work for us. They've been lying the whole time. Goes on more here. To my normie friends who will be outraged by this, we have been brainwashed by corporate media all our lives. They said that anything that isn't the official government story is a conspiracy theory. Only insane people believe, to gaslight you into never questioning the government. Why am I questioning this now? That's obvious. We just found out our government was lying to us for decades about child assault ring inside America. And our government protected the predators instead of the American children. You have to be an idiot to trust the US government now. To any of the people that have been called kooks or wackos for questioning September 11, I would say you are owed an apology. And also, we also need to know who else that email was sent to, other than Tom Pritzker. That secret list, as it says in the email. So everything that you have seen coming from these files, just know this still isn't all of it. There were over 6 million from what I understand. They only released about 3 million. So they're still hiding information from you. This one, I think, somehow snuck through. Maybe they thought that people were so focused on the trafficking, they weren't going to notice this one, but no, we know we got it. Ghislaine Maxwell is right here, right now, on American soil. So the more you see this, the more you see the rich run the world. We don't. But there are more of us than there are of them. And that's what they don't want you to really grasp. They don't want us to come together in that way. What is done in the dark eventually comes to light. And Eric was right. It's getting to the point now where you can't keep these things secret. Let's go to some of the comments here, ladies and gents, and we'll go to the next story. Thank you. Thank you, Kenman. In the age of chimpanzees, I was a monkey. Are you quoting Beck? That's from Beck, right? In the age of chimpanzees, I was a monkey. Soy Parador. I'm a loser, baby. You guys remember that song? Lynn said, yes, this is the only way we can get them out. We have to band together. Measured Man said, Kanye said it too. Thank you for the super chat, Arcane. Only one country benefited from September 11. There you go. Marcel says, apparently photos of Maxwell are not matching with the woman being interviewed asking for relief from Trump. Oh, interesting. Ruma, Sabby, look up the clip on L. Wexner's GRP. Rap music promoted violence and prison population. Yes, I covered that about a year ago from the Whitney Webb's article. So I did cover that. Thank you, Nurse Kate. Thank you for your amazing and hard work. Are the elites crap in their pants, or are they untouchable? Can they be held accountable when it runs so deep? Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for the super sticker, Keon Ganderson. Thank you. Thank you, Gongo. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Nong. Heard Lutnik say, all my victims upstairs. Guys, you know, it's just, I'm telling you. Thank you, Max Roy. Good work, Sabby. Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker, M. Rish. And thank you, Where's the Love? Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 documentary showed one of bin Laden relatives on the balcony of the White House smoking a cigar with the Pentagon burning in the background. Telling you, thank you, Krista. Been saying it's an inside job since 2010. My family thought I was crazy. Yeah, people are owed apologies. Let's get that comment on Rumble. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mark, for the Rumble rant. Sabby, the shit libs called us trutherist. It's funny how they always have a stupid term in their retarded news speak, but no logical counter. Yeah, man, it's a lot of things are coming out now. And thank you for this one, Mary. During the debates with Al Gore, GWB constantly said he wanted to invade Iraq. It was no surprise that he'd use any excuse to finish Daddy's war. Well. All right, ladies and gents, if you haven't done so, smash the like button and we're going to keep this party moving and grooving. Is that okay? All right. You know, again, because of the Epstein files, people are starting to look into other people as well. People are going back to look at video footage and audio from people that may have partied with Trump. And one of those people that is now being looked into is Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke is from the rap group 2 Live Crew. They used to have this song called Pop That, Coochie. And if there's anyone that knows about being in the political spotlight and they were a musician, it would be Uncle Luke. During that time, I know Congress was very much against 2 Live Crew's music at that point in time. But apparently now some recent audio from an interview that Uncle Luke had, looks like with a radio station, has come back into light now that those files have been released. Because apparently at some point, Uncle Luke says that he went to Mar-a-Lago and partied with Donald Trump. Now, you got to remember, this is back in the day. This is back when Donald Trump used to hang out with rappers. And I remember seeing Donald Trump in music videos when I was a kid. Like that used to be the way. Like Donald Trump used to be in rapper spaces. He used to be in music videos, that type of thing. So he didn't go to Mar-a-Lago to party with Trump recently. So I'm going to show you his response, and then I'm going to show you the video in question. And you let me know what you think. Uncle Luke comes out and debunks the latest Democrat hoax. So let's hear what he says. He is responding to Ed Krasenstein. I think this is one of the Krasenstein brothers. Breaking: unearthed audio recording of rapper Uncle Luke talking about a party he went to at Mar-a-Lago. A lot of these women ain't of age. So when you have a whole bunch of these women running around, whether you know if they are of age or not, there is a lot of things going on. Some women look too young. Yeah, there was a lot of sex going on. It's time to abandon Trump. So let's hear what Uncle Luke says about this first. And then I'm going to go back and play the audio in question.
Let me get into this Luke going to Trump party controversy that all of a sudden hit the wire today. Before I get into the rest of the show, this Uncle Luke going to Donald Trump and seeing drugs and seeing people underage and all that and everything. Number one, let me just say this. I voted for Kamala Harris. I supported Kamala Harris. Bullets. I'm a Democrat. That's number two. Number three, I don't lie on people at all. I don't lie, period. When I went to Donald Trump, when Donald Trump invited me, Mike Tyson, along with Eddie Murphy, we rode up there. Trump invited us. Donald Trump was a Democrat at the time. I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what his party affiliation was. I just knew that Donald Trump had nice, cool parties. And to be invited to a billionaire house in West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, which was a cool thing. He hung out with all the other rapper executives and all the other black executives, did fights. He had the USFL football team and all that cool thing.
So to be fair, that was Donald Trump back in the day. Like there's pictures of Donald Trump hanging out with Diddy, with Mike Tyson. Like back then he was kind of, really heavily like in that space. Donald Trump is in the Bobby Brown On Our Own video, the song from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. Bobby Brown made a song called On Our Own, and Donald Trump is in that music video. Donald Trump was on an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's how it used to be. That's why some people were shocked when Donald Trump decided to run as a Republican, because we were like, whoa, what is happening here? Like, he used to, he was a Democrat. He used to hang out with like the hip hop, like rappers and all that type of stuff. But then Donald Trump, he changed. Let's go on.
The man was also mentioned in maybe 1,500 rap records where every rapper from New York glorified him. You see what I'm saying? This is Trump. You hang out with Trump, was a cool dude. Trump always had beautiful people hanging around him. Did I see anybody taking drugs? No. I did not see anybody taking drugs. Did I see underage girls running around? No. I did not see underage girls running around. That man ain't did nothing but be a host, just like any other host.
So let's repeat. He said he didn't see people doing drugs and he did not see underage girls around. That's important when we get to the audio. So hold on to that.
Okay. I don't like what the fuck he got going on in America right now today, but am I going to sit up here and lie about what the fuck was going on over there?
Two Live Crew rap star from the early 1990s, Uncle Luke. He talks about going to a Mar-a-Lago party. He left right away. He thought he was going to get extorted because the girls all looked underage, or a lot of them looked so young, he said, that he had to get the hell out of there. This is just using his words, because he didn't want anything to do with what he was seeing there. He said that that there was sex and underage girls, and this is what he observed, and he wanted to get the hell
Okay, so this is Midas
out of
Touch.
there.
So they added that at the end of that video, but let me show you the actual audio. And I guess you can judge for yourself because they added this here. Midas Touch said, in unearthed footage, rapper Uncle Luke describes his experience at Trump Mar-a-Lago party in the 90s. Okay, so listen to this here.
Two Live Crew rap star from the early 1990s, Uncle Luke. He talks about going to a Mar-a-Lago party. He left right away. He thought he was going to get extorted because the girls all looked underage, or a lot of them looked so young, he said, that he had to get the hell out of there. This is just using his words, because he didn't want anything to do with what he was seeing there. He said that there was sex and underage girls, and this is what he observed, and he wanted to get the hell out of there. Here's what he said.
If the man took us around the house.
Yeah, someone added the fart sound. Like, that's, as you can see, that's not in the original video. So someone added it when they put this at the end of that other clip. Let's continue.
There. Here's what he said.
If the man took us around the house, okay, he said, look, I got all these women. I got these women from the pageant. They're going to be there. So we went. It was like, hey, man, I got a pageant down here. I'm hosting these women at the house. Okay. Up in Palm Beach, they send some cars to pick us up. We get in the cars, we drive up there. Me, Mike, Eddie Murphy, we all in our own individual cars.
Let's pause here. So as you can see in the top left-hand corner, it says Uncle Luke call. So this station here, it tells you who the caller is on the phone. And the name of this show is called Make It Plain with, I can't see all of this, Matt Lissima. Mark Thompson, MP, but Make It Plain. So he says they pull up, I guess, with Eddie Murphy and, some other like celebrities at that point in time. So continue to listen.
Car service drove us up there. We got there. He showed us around the house, told us about this mansion and the history behind it and all that. Just the golf course. It was dark. We couldn't see the golf course and things like that. And then before you know it, hey, man, y'all enjoy yourself. We got cocktails and everything. And before you know it, the rooms and everything start popping. There wasn't no DJ. It was more of, hey, get in where you fit in. Whatever room you're going to go in, you go into that room.
So you say no DJ. There was no music? Or the music was piped in?
No, there wasn't no music.
No music.
That was the interesting part about it. There wasn't no music.
So women just naked in rooms with no music?
Hey, people walk around. It wasn't, listen, it wasn't nothing wrong with that. I was happy to be at that party, but then at the end of the day, when I started looking at some of these girls' faces, I was like, man, these girls don't look like they're old enough.
Okay, did everybody hear that part? So he said at the end of the day, he started looking around at some of these girls' faces and they don't look like they're old enough. So let's continue.
I didn't ask nobody their age. And then all the other stuff going on. You know, it was like, okay, I can't be up here. I got to go. If I'm going to jail, then somebody's going to extort me. I really, you know, I don't do drugs. Never did it in my life. You know, I smoked marijuana 2 times, you know, when I was in high school, and I didn't like the experience. As far as drugs, I may have sold drugs. I never liked the people who I sold them to when I was young, because I thought they were stupid for buying it. So I never had cared to indulge in it. So when I do see people doing it, if I'm around it, I get away from it.
And here's more from Luke right here.
So again, guys, I mean, am I maybe like not hearing this the right way? Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but it sounds like he did say that some of those girls didn't look like they were old enough to be doing that. Oh boy.
Okay, the thing is, when you're around, I've been around a lot of models and a lot of these pageant women, because that's what mostly it was. It was mostly pageant women. And a lot of these women ain't of age. So when you got a whole bunch of these women running around, whether they of age or not, you know, there's a lot of things going on. You just, you know, some women look too young.
So again, that's where they're getting it from. So it's not like, you know, people just decided to make something up. Like, this is where it's coming from this conversation on the radio show. And Uncle Luke, you don't know what's happening. Like, you're trying to pretend like you didn't say this. It goes on.
Oh,
so you keep it moving.
I see.
You know, so it wasn't nobody beating no women, nobody taking advantage of no women. I mean, they were all enjoying themselves. That's what they were there for. But were they old enough to be enjoying themselves? I don't know.
Was there sex?
Of course there was.
I guess that's a stupid question now to ask. Okay, so I think I got you now. You're saying that all this was going on and you weren't clear as to whether these were adults.
I wasn't clear whether or not they were adults, and I wasn't clear whether or not, you know, whether I wanted to be in that kind of environment where some of these other things that was going on in there. I ain't gonna too much elaborate about everything else what was going on outside of the sexual act. But
well, my brother, we love for you too. We love for you too. That's why we on Serious
Exam.
Because we can open it up. We on Serious Exam. We can bust it wide open right here.
The drugs and the alcohol and the sex and all that, but I ain't gonna talk about the drugs and the alcohol and the sex.
But but now you did say that if you were on exam, you could talk about it. So that's why we here, man. I mean, people, inquiring minds want to know.
I said I could use the profanity and all that there, and talk about, you know, naked people and all that. But then I ain't the drug part. I don't want to talk about that part.
So he says the drug part he doesn't really want to talk about. So again, we're talking about what's done in the dark eventually comes to light, because unless I'm missing something, we can see this again.
Trump, Luke going to Trump party, controversy that all of a sudden hit the wire today. Before I get into the rest of the show, this Uncle Luke going to Donald Trump and seeing drugs and seeing people underage and all that and everything. Number one, let me just say this. I voted for Kamala Harris. I supported Kamala Harris. Bullets. I'm a Democrat. That's number two. Number three, I don't lie on people at all. I don't lie, period. When I went to Donald Trump, when Donald Trump invited me, Mike Tyson, along with Eddie Murphy, we rode up there. Trump invited us. Donald Trump was a Democrat at the time. I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what his party affiliation was. I just knew that Donald Trump had nice, cool parties. And to be invited to a billionaire house in West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, which was a cool thing. He hung out with all the other rapper executives and all the other black executives, did fights. He had a USFL football team and all that cool thing. So the man was also mentioned in maybe 1,500 rap records where every rapper from New York glorified him. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this was Trump. You hang out with Trump, was a cool dude. Trump always had beautiful people hanging around him. Did I see anybody taking drugs? No, I did not see anybody taking drugs. Did I see underage girls running around? No, I did not see underage girls running around.
So it sounds like to me that he's trying to save himself. Also, why did he feel the need, to JB's point, why did he feel the need to explain to people who he voted for president? That was kind of weird. Like I said before, the Epstein files are not partisan. So it seems like to me he's trying to save himself for whatever reason. I don't know. You know, he's not saying he did anything at those parties. I didn't hear that on the radio segment, that he did anything with those women. No, he said that some of them looked like they weren't of age, and so he had to get up out of there, which actually is the right thing to do. So I don't understand. Why lie? Why lie? What's done in the dark will come to light. It's just weird to me because the way it kind of came across, as, okay, he's either trying to protect himself. Of course, we know that. But it also feels like he's trying to protect Donald Trump a little bit. It was weird. It was weird. I guess, you know, it just, I mean, come on. Like, people are sitting back and they're like, he would never. He had a song called Pop That Coochie. 2 Live Crew used to have women shaking the booties and you know, and the other stuff, like, all in the air. And now you want to be timid. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just be honest and tell the truth. Simple. Simple. Let's go to some of the comments, ladies and gents. Oh my God. Shout out to JNE, who is a Sabby member, has been one for 1 month. It's all about the Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you, Taurus. The ticker under Lutnik, Fox, prepare for holy war. Thank you for the super chat, 1 box. Luke said he didn't do nothing. Okay, so then just say that. What's the big deal? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Dark Angel said TLC was banned for performing in Florida. 2 Live Crew, yeah. Thank you, Abdallah. Since the 9/11 obviously was not done by Muslims, it was not done by Deep State and others. It was done by Deep State and others. How come Muslims are still hated in America? I used to be investigated every time I walked into an airport in America. No apology yet. So that's not us. That's not the majority of us. That's the systems that are in place. The polling shows right now the majority of Americans actually have turned against Israel. So things are changing. I hear where you're coming from. I know there's a lot of Islamophobia, but I do see that things have been changing. But when you come here and you go through airports and things like that, that's the system which we don't own, right? Street says, Sabby, my boyfriend watched your video on MJ and that white boy was like, she right. Thank you, Cloudness. SMIFN, Wasson, and Raycon had a dong called BLK Trump. Maybe you mean a song called BLK Trump? Thank you, Where's the Love? Luke is full of it. There is a doc of 2 Live Crew back in the day. It was Girls Gone Wild, the Black edition. And those girls were young too. Thank you, Roger. Jank called it corporate media. We recently have been calling it legacy media. Here's the new term, gatekeeper media. That's interesting. I mean, there's gatekeepers in independent media too. So that's the only thing about that. You got to be careful with that. Eric said a song or dog. Yeah, I think he meant song. I think that's what he meant. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the next story here, ladies and gents. If you haven't had a chance to do so, smash the like button. Thank you. And let's keep it moving and grooving. We need to talk about Leon Black, someone who is also mentioned in the Epstein files in a very, very, very disgusting act. and what this has to do with the Trump administration. Schools across the U.S. to cancel picture day due to Leon Black's Epstein file involvement. Pretty sad when local schools are more aware of doing more than our own government. Honestly, so pathetic. Leon Black, through Apollo Global Management, owns LifeTouch, the company that dominates school photography in America. Of all the businesses someone with Epstein ties could own, a company with direct access to children's photos is probably the most alarming. So this is Leon Black. And LifeTouch ownership, that group Apollo, they do own LifeTouch photos. But that's not even the most damning thing when it comes to Leon Black, right? So we talked before about the company LifeTouch, how they're in the Epstein files, and there is this allegation that this could have been used as some type of catalog, like taking these pictures, storing that information, and basically having a catalog of children. But let me show you something else that Leon Black did. It's probably the most damning here. We also get into this about here, the database. Again, Power to the People is talking about that. Your children's photos are being uploaded to a database that is owned by a pedophile. Again, Leon Black. And I'm going to say this for all the parents who are watching as well. Hear me loud and clear. Please do not post your children's faces on social media. A friend of mine who has multiple kids, when she takes a picture with her kids, if she puts it on social media, she blurs their faces. Don't put your kids' faces on social media, because predators have been known to use that too. You thinking it's just a family photo. Predators look at it as something else. Leon Black, in the Epstein files, I'll make this bigger for you so you can see this along with me. This is May 26th of 2023. Call with Gene Christensen, Wigdor LLP referral. Leon Black, Wall Street person, 72 or 71-year-old now, founded largest private equity global fund that exists today that's publicly traded. One of Epstein's friends, very powerful. Another reason why you don't want to like this guy, freaking runs private equity global fund. We've talked about the dangers of private equity on this show before, how they've come for the housing market and more. 7 to 8 years, Black was sexually violent with her. 7 to 8 years old. The name here is redacted. So again, for people like Megyn Kelly, there are different ages all throughout the Epstein files. It is alleged that Leon Black bit parts of her, we will say, female anatomy on this show. Violence was something that was arousing for him, very painful for her. JC represented victim for civil defamation case, not sex abuse case. Went to USAO in Manhattan, May or June of 2021. JC doesn't represent her anymore. Let's go on. Here's another one. Got a call from a victim woman who said that she heard about lawsuit against Black. Victim said Black assaulted her around 20 years ago, 2001 or 2002 in Epstein's townhouse. And this is why I continue to say, stop buying the narrative of someone saying they didn't go to the island. Epstein had multiple properties. There were things that were done on these other properties as well. So this incident is alleged to be 2001, 2002. Victim described it, felt pain. Something sharp inserted in the female anatomy. I'm trying to be as PC as possible here. On a massage table with the head on the floor, legs on his shoulders, excruciating pain. Spoke with blank at the Manhattan DA's office, blank at DA's office, Substance abuse problems in 1990s, preyed on by Epstein, gave massages to Epstein in black for money, lives in blank now. Abuse happened in New York. So there needs to be something said for those crimes that took place in New York. Here's another one. Minor victim at Epstein's townhouse was told to give Leon Black a massage, violently assaulted by Black. 16-year-old when assaulted by Black. There's a lot of redactions here. Biological mother is blank. Biological father is blank. Both alive. Has lived with them since 2012 when attending blank, where a counselor in charge of the students with blank. Black used adult toys and inserted into the victim's areas. Victim felt severe pinching on her female anatomy and obviously began to bleed. Black and others at Epstein's house would not take her to the doctor and instead flew her out of New York the next day. Victim did not go back to New York after that. Next few years was in Palm Beach or the U.S. Virgin Islands. Multiple alleged incidents against Leon Black in the Epstein files. This man should have been thrown under the jam jail. Miss Pam Bondi, who told you months ago there was nothing to see here, they all saw this, they all knew this. They knew it. And they're still trying to protect people. Even when this was revealed, the Epstein files show prosecutors investigated Leon Black for sexual abuse allegations, but they didn't charge him. Of course, they didn't charge him because he's rich. This is why I'm trying to tell you guys. Goes on here. Neither the local Manhattan District Attorney's Office nor the federal U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the two departments examining the accusations against Leon Black, brought charges against him. The newly public files include dozens of emails, internal memos, and records of calls with lawyers for Black's accusers going back to 2019. They include the first known instance that prosecutors investigated whether there was wrongdoing related to Black. Two of the women who drew the attention of prosecutors alleged that he assaulted them in Epstein's Manhattan mansion in 2002. So when you hear Trump say, I didn't go to the island, when you hear Bill Gates say, I didn't go to the island, they are trying to mislead you and everyone else. It's not just about the island. Notice you never hear them say, I didn't go to that townhouse. I didn't go to Zorro Ranch. Young girls. Very sad. Very sad. They did nothing. Nothing. Again, children. You hear that, Megyn Kelly? Children. Let's get into the payment controversy. Leon Black's payments to Jeffrey Epstein and leadership transition. In 2021, Apollo co-founder and then CEO Leon Black stepped down amid scrutiny over his financial relationship with financier Jeffrey Epstein, including reporting that Black paid Epstein $158 million for tax and estate planning advice and related services. The episode drew broader attention because Epstein was later federally charged in the Southern District of New York with sex trafficking related expenses. One of the things I want you to pay attention to is this idea of we just had a financial relationship. Bill Gates said that, oh, it's financial, or we were talking about philanthropy. Everyone's trying to say it was just finance or it was just business, as if they had nothing to do or knew anything about any of this. And that's crazy, considering some of these people started hanging out with him after he was charged. Leon Black has a son. His name is Benjamin Black. He's considered to be an investor This guy right now is a part of the Trump administration. So when you heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say that Donald Trump is trying to protect his friends, he said that my friends would get hurt. Here's one of those friends. Benjamin Black is an American investor and chief executive officer of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. That's him. He is the son of Leon Black. See how this works? Another reason to despise this dude, again, worked in private equity, worked for Daddy at Apollo Group Management, also worked for Goldman Sachs, Sullivan and Cromwell. Let's go on more here. Epstein correspondence and family financial ties. Jeffrey Epstein's executive assistant, Leslie Groff, emailed Black and his brother, Joshua Black, about Epstein commissioning painted portraits of the brothers as a gift for their father, stating that Epstein had co-signed an artist at the New York Academy of Arts and that each would need to meet with the artist. In the same email exchange, Benjamin Black replied, "Sounds good to me." So do you see? Now here's the nomination. Nomination for the Trump administration. On June 18th of 2025, President Donald Trump nominated Benjamin Black to serve as the CEO of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, succeeding Scott A. Nathan following his resignation. In announcing the nomination, President Trump said Black would apply his financial and deal-making experience to advance U.S. interests abroad. The nomination drew attention due to his limited background in foreign policy and legislative affairs. On October 7th, 2025, he was confirmed. He just got in there. Another person with limited experience, but also pro-Israel. Interesting how a lot of these people that were friends with Epstein just seem to make their way as part of Trump's administration, whether it's Benjamin Black or Howard Lutnik. Almost as if they're protecting and looking out for each other. Isn't it? When we look here, there's other troubling things about Leon Black. Gen X Girl pointed out that folks are discovering lots about Leon Black today, but some of us have been posting about him and his partner, Mark Rowan. C7Cs post in December about Leon Black and Life Touch. I've also posted a lot about Mark Rowan, who Trump recently appointed to the Board of Peace. Another one of Epstein's friends. Mark Rowan is a billionaire Zionist appointed to the Trump Board of Peace, is in the Epstein files where he met with Epstein several times along with the Rothschild bankers. His partner, Leon Black, was also involved with Epstein and sued for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. Here's a piece of the article here. So you have someone that's a part of the Peace Board, which isn't really peace, also connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and of course, a Zionist. Now, this is Mark Rowan. Mark Rowan worked with Leon Black. We'll go on to show more here. I think we'll go to the next part here. More about Mark Rowan. Trump appointed swamp creatures to his Gaza Board of Peace, but let highlight one you may not know about. Mark Rowan, Zionist billionaire, Apollo Capital, paid for Eric Adams' $34,000 Israel trip, bullied schools to censor anti-Israel speech. Partner, Leon Black, Epstein associate, of course, assaulted the 16-year-old girl with autism and mosaic Down syndrome. These people are evil. Received Jerusalem Post Award for his Israel efforts. So top executives at group that paid for Mayor Adams' $34,000 Israel trip have business interests before his administration. So remember when Eric Adams made that expensive trip to Israel? Mark Rowan paid for that. These people don't pay for trips. They don't spend $30,000 or $40,000 for you to go on a trip just because they like you. They want something in return. Now you see why Eric Adams went as hard in the paint as he did for Israel when he was mayor of New York City. They're all connected. Two top executives at the philanthropic organization that bankrolled Mayor Adams' recent trip have significant business and lobby interests before his administration. The matter involves Mark Rowan and Eric Goldstein, respectively, the chairman and the CEO of the United Jewish Appeal Federation of New York, which picked up the tab for Adams' stay in Israel. All of it, all connected. And then you see why they don't serve us. We go on to show you something else because they think we're stupid. Look at what was sent 1 month before Trump was inaugurated his first term. Here's another one. From Epstein to Bill Gates. This is December 20th, 2016. Come to visit the island. New administration people visiting. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Come to visit the island. New administration people visiting. That was December of 2016, Trump's first term. That was Jeffrey Epstein announcing to Bill Gates that the new administration was coming to visit. The politicians in bed with the bankers and buddy with Jeffrey Epstein. Why would new administration need to go visit Jeffrey Epstein's island? That's how deep this corruption goes. That's going back to 2016. Trump been knew. They all knew. I'm going to share this with you guys in the chat so you can look at that one on your own if you want to as well. Bill Gates also, again, it was sent to him. So Bill Gates knew too. See how that worked? Now, I just want to take you back to what Jeffrey Epstein Butler said. Again, this was years ago. Years ago. Epstein Butler's caught on FBI sting in 2009, trying to sell the little black book. Listen to what he said.
Are you? Me too. Come on in. How are you doing? Good. Yeah, the documents. Who created this book? Epstein himself. I have it there and also my computer, but just in case it's power failure. He was very organized, so I was supposed to have made this with every plane and everything. Just there's the computer was ready with water. First time I saw that to keep it full because they used to download pictures like this, just like that. What kind of pictures? Naked girls from Sweden, from Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from Colombia.
Romania, Sweden, Brazil, Romania. Sound familiar?
Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from Colombia. All young girls? Very young, very young. Like when you say very young, how young are you talking? 16, 17. The teenagers, they have braces, most of them. Younger than that though? Yeah. And they used to go up to comedy shops or ice cream parlors or movies, a lot of movies. Because it was paintings, ice cream and comedy and movies. Records that they would stay even if you erase them. I know the rest would say there's Ghislaine Maxwell was his former companion, a very powerful lady from England. She would go to the former Eastern countries in Europe and find girls for it. And I knew that because I went.
She would go to the former those Eastern countries in Europe to recruit girls. Now, again, remember when we all brought up that nonprofit that Erika Kirk had in Romania, that some of those people came forward and said that they were abused and that they were trafficked? Remember that? Now, do I have proof that Erika knew about that? No, I don't have proof that she was actually physically a part of that. I don't have proof about that. But it's just interesting. Again, Romania, Ghislaine Maxwell just happened to be, out of all the countries, she just happened to make sure she picked that one. Let's continue. I think this is where he said, yeah, she would go to those Eastern Bloc countries.
In Europe and find girls for Epstein. And I knew that because I went with my wife. They used to have a computer so powerful. They used to have a water radiator to cool the computer because they used to download pictures like that so fast. Because she has nice breasts, she has this and that.
You saw that stuff?
Yeah.
On the computer?
Yeah.
Pictures of the girls? When they naked, stuff like that?
Yeah, I testify that.
He testified. The FBI first interviewed Rodriguez in 2007. 2007. Jeffrey Epstein they could have been seriously, jailed these people if they wanted to. Now, just imagine that it's not Epstein and this socialite from the UK, and imagine that it's Roscoe working at, Dunkin' Donuts, or imagine that it's Suzanne, like waiting tables at, I don't know, the Olive Garden. Y'all would have been in jail. You see what I mean? But because it's wealthy people's, we turn a blind eye. And then it doesn't help that you also have people that, as again was alleged via Maria Farmer, that were CIA and also NYPD, which is revealed in the Epstein files recently we talked about. When you had people that worked for the NYPD, worked for the FBI, also CIA, Maria Farmer said Epstein was also CIA, you're protected because you got people on the inside. You don't get away with this for this long without having some type of protection in the system. So all these people knew, they were all involved in the cover up, and there's a lot of blackmail that was going on. And let me tell you, the DOJ, they're trying to be sneaky. They think they're slick. So they dropped this list, right? They released this list of a bunch of names. And so I think they're trying to be a smart ass. They put people on the list that had nothing to do with the files. And then they added names and then made sure that they protected some names, right? So like at one point, here we go, Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin was dead. You see what I mean? So they trying to be funny and adding all these other names while still protecting other names. So these people are corrupt. Aaron Parnas shared it. The DOJ has sent over a letter to Congress outlining why it made redactions to the Epstein files. The 6-page letter, also includes a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons in the files. But then Aaron came back and said, breaking, one Epstein survivor tells me this evening that this letter released by the DOJ is missing a few names. A few? Really? Just a few? So they're literally laughing and playing in our faces. Thomas Massey was recently on ABC News this morning. I want to show you what he said here.
Sentence. And finally, I know the DOJ wants to say they're done with this document production. The problem is...
Here we go.
Sentence. And finally, I know the DOJ wants to say they're done with this document production. The problem is they've taken down documents before we were able to go over to the DOJ and look at the unredacted versions. They took down some of the most significant documents, two of them involving Virginia Giuffre's case and other things. The picture of Epstein at in a room where it's got CIA written on the boxes, that's been taken down. We want to be able to look at all these files. They can't keep those documents down after they've already produced them.
So again, definitely still hiding information. Eric, can we go to the next part here about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Let's go ahead and bring that in. Still hiding information again, because they're still protecting people like Leon Black, like Benjamin Black. These are corrupt, powerful people, and they're still trying to protect them. Like the magician. Everybody keeps saying the magician. There's a magician. There's a magician. Everybody knows the magician you're talking about is David Copperfield. But for some reason, I don't know, people feel like they got to protect his damn name. What's done in the dark will come to light. You'll see here, even so-called independent media is trying to protect the administration. They're trying to protect Donald Trump. They're using the same freaking words. These so-called new media accounts, or they're saying we're the truth. Alex Jones. Watch this. They're all using the same words. Alex Jones. This backfired bigly on the left. Powerful Dems like Bill Clinton mentioned 1,193 times, and others busted Alex Jones. Eric Daughtry. Epstein has backfired on the left. Multiple powerful Democrats have been exposed, and Trump has been vindicated. These people just bend over and kiss Trump's ass. Like literally Donald Trump can stand there, bend over, put out the two cheeks, and they would happily bend over and kiss his ass. So the so-called new media, new independent media, some of these people are not independent from the establishment. They're still very much corrupt. So you have to be very careful about that too. There are people going around saying that they're independent, and they're doing the bidding of the establishment. Eric Daughtry is probably one of the worst. This Gunther Eagleman guy, also a professional Trump ass kisser. This backfired bigly on the left. Powerful Dems like Bill Clinton, literally the exact same verbiage as Alex Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if all these people are not in like a Twitter DM group, and they all come up together like, this is what we are going to say. They tweet it out at the same time. So that way it gains traction in the algorithm. And that's how they get millions and millions of views on Twitter. It's all coordinated. These people ain't worth shit. And I've been saying this for the longest time. Don't be fooled by the so-called independent truth media that still bends over to kiss Trump's ass. So there you go. So you got to be careful there. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, she came forward also recently on another podcast, and she made it very clear that Donald Trump was the one who was trying the hardest to stop these files from coming out. Listen closely.
That fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released. That fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released.
So he fought the hardest to stop those files from being released because all his friends are in there. His buddies are there. I think I want to sum it up with what this guy said here. I think he hit the nail on the head about the disgust that we've seen.
Well, I just made the biggest mistake probably that I've ever made in my life. Last night, couldn't sleep, looked at the files, started with documents, moved on to video, and my God, bloody hell. We're living in bloody hell. I had to stop because I can't unsee what I saw. In my life, I've watched horror movies, not even close. Blood-curdling screams of young kids, the fear in these children. These people are the devil walking earth. The devil is on earth. It was horrible. Unaliving of children. The idea that they've been unaliving children, cutting up intestines and eating them, unaliving babies, violating, essaying these children. I mean, I've never in my life, if you had told me in my wildest dreams, I swear, maybe I'm naive. Am I naive? But if you told me in my wildest dreams that this kind of thing was happening in this country,
probably would have never believed it. Probably would have never believed it. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, some of the things that I saw, I can't show on here. I told you guys it's really bad. I'm actually surprised the Leon Black one was not completely removed because of the age of the victims. And it's far worse. There are far worse things in there. And that's why I say it's not for those that have a weak stomach. There are definitely multiple pieces that I've seen in the files that talk about cannibalism. These are evil people. And they did these kind of things in the dark for so long, but it's like I said, what's done in the dark will eventually come to light. And we go back to what Eric said before too, about it's gotten to the point now where they're not able to keep things secret. The establishment, the billionaires, the corrupt people, they're not able to keep things secret anymore. And that's why you see them trying to silence people. That's why they're trying to take over and shut down these platforms, because the best detectives are the grassroots, not the FBI. But really disgusting things. And I don't know, you guys. For people who tell you for years that they care so much about children to just say, look the other way, that should tell you everything. But I end this segment with this. This is the same government that aided and abetted a genocide. Both parties did that. And this is where the crimes of the empire come home. Yeah, they don't care about the kids in Gaza, but they don't care about kids here either. Think about that. All right, we got one more story for you guys, ladies and gents. If you haven't had a chance to do so, go ahead and smash the like button. Thank you. And we're going to keep it moving and grooving. We got to get to this Erika Kirk story here because I didn't know. And again, kudos to those who sent me this. This is very damning. We've been talking before on the show about there seems to be two different Erika Kirks. There's one that wanted like this pageant, modeling, acting, entertainment career, wanted to, in some way, shape, or form, be in the spotlight, was a working woman. And then there is the one that was represented with Charlie Kirk, where she said that she's this traditional wife, which we've also pointed out in the show is also not true. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just keep it real. We don't really know who Erika is at this point in time. But now it has been brought to my attention that apparently Erika Kirk also tried to be a politician. I mean, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Let's go ahead and bring this in here. Shout out to this guy's name is Danks. He dropped the bombshell on this one, you guys, and someone sent it to me. So we got to get into the nitty gritty here. Listen to this.
Just wanted to work at Turning Point. The one that maybe had a real estate license, did some entrepreneur stuff, was in the entertainment industry. That is not who she is. She already ran for the GOP Republican committeeman position in Sutton, Arizona in 2020, 9 months before Charlie Kirk married her. She was already at Turning Point USA. She was already getting involved in all of the things that he was up to. So why is this document that I'm about to show you being hid or not discussed? Why is she running for a political committeeman position for the grand old party when she is supposedly having nothing to do with politics. She has nothing to do with the military. She has nothing to do with any of this stuff. Now, her being in charge of Turning Point makes complete sense. And quite frankly, it pisses me off. It absolutely infuriates me. This should infuriate you too. I want you to take a good, hard look at this document right here. Okay? Look at it very carefully. It says, August primary election canvass. August 4th, 2020, Maricopa Elections Department. County of Maricopa, Office of the Clerk, Board of Supervisors. So Republican Precinct Committeeman, Sutton Precinct is what she ran for. So there was 7 candidates. There's a vote for 7. The Republican Precinct Committeeman in Sutton, Republican Party. So it shows times casted, undervotes, overvotes, all the names of the candidates. And then you've got Erika Lane Francevy, a write-in vote, 1 vote. The rest of them pulled 215, 204, 208, 209, 211, 194, 212. What is this, man? Are you serious? Why would you have 1 vote? And then if you look down here, you can see Sutton County, election-wide, Sutton County, Erika Lane Francevy, qualified write-in, 1 vote. So when we're looking at this write-in section of total of 1 vote, 0.07%, 1 vote out of 391 ballots cast in that contest, that is,
which would mean that she allegedly wrote her name in. It's like, what is happening here? Who is this person? So again, another example of her showing trying to be something else or do something else. And so ultimately, it seems like at this point, she was interested in going into politics. So I guess she figured, well, that didn't work. So I can marry someone who I know is going to go into politics and I'll be on his arm. Who does that remind you of? It reminds me of Hillary Clinton. We all know the story of Hill and Bill. We all know when people say, oh, well, Bill cheated on Hillary with Monica Lewinsky. We all know that Bill was cheating on Hillary before they got married. Come on. But Hill knew that he was going places. And Hillary knew that maybe that could help her go some places too. Convenience factor. We're going to get into the video of how Erika and Charlie met, the video that they did together, where they talk about how they met, and it reveals some things on Erika's part. But I told you, everything we didn't showed you before, she tends to latch herself onto people that it looks like they're going somewhere. Whether it was the minor league baseball player, whether it was, I think that was JT, and then there was also Cabot Phillips. She's attaching herself to people that look like they are going somewhere.
the current CEO of Turning Point USA. This is page 2,355 out of 2,387 pages of this document. No wonder it took somebody so long to find it. Thank you to Badger and my community for bringing this to my awareness. That's why a community works together. This is so outrageous. Most people have never even heard of a precinct committeeman, and that's by design because it's the most powerful position in politics. That's why nobody talks about it. Precinct committeemen are the root access of the Republican Party. They are the foundation. Every decision that flows upwards through the party hierarchy at the PC level that's it. I mean, it literally flows up from the PC level. PCs elect legislative district chairs, LD chairs, elect county chairs. County chairs elect state leadership. State leadership feeds the national committee. In Arizona and Maricopa County, 444,604 Republican ballots were cast in this same August 2020 primary. This is the single most consequential GOP apparatus in a swing state. Whoever controls the precinct committeeman network literally controls the party from the ground up. And even if you lose a PC race, just filing this right here gives you official standing with the Republican Party.
So does everyone notice? This is an important part, how these positions that may seem to be minor, You know, you may think that they don't really have any power, they can't really do anything. It goes to show you how some of these minor positions actually do matter and have an impact. I said the same thing about city council. City council control the budget. So while people kind of may just look at city councilors and go, oh, you're just a city councilor, these are the people that are controlling the budget in your city. So you probably should know who they are, right? Good find on this one, though.
Access to party meetings, access to convention votes, access to precinct level voter data, a political record that exists in a certified government documentation. Filing for a PC is how you plant a flag in the party machinery. It's how you create credentials even with one vote. So why Erika Lane Fronsvy? Who is she? At the time of this filing in August of 2020, it was August 4th, I think it was 2020, Erika Fronsvy had already been dating Charlie Kirk for nearly 2 years, if not over. Tyler Boyer, the COO at the time of Turning Point USA, introduced them at Bill's Burgers in New York City. I mean, I've heard a lot of different introductory stories. All I know is they met in 2018. I don't know what one is true, where and who they were with, all these different stories. I don't know, because nothing is adding up anymore. Boyer has confirmed that on Fox News, but then we've heard they met at something else. I mean, I thought that she went in for an interview. So I don't understand what is going on here. Why everybody is lying about Erika Kirk. All of a sudden, the whole Turning Point is flipped upside down on their head. They lost all their trust, all their honesty, all the truth has just left their tongue. So I need you to think about this. Really think about it. Why? Erika Kirk already inside Turning Point. Why is she filing for a precinct committeeman position as Maricopa County? Why is she doing that? She's not campaigning. She's not knocking any doors. She didn't knock a single door. She got one vote. It was probably her own vote. 7 established candidates are pulling 190 plus votes, up over 200. Erika gets one vote. She's not doing anything to actually substantiate a purpose of being inside of this race. This campaign is not what she was intending to win at all. She's creating a political record. She's establishing independent credentials in the Republican apparatus, and she's doing it under the Fronsvy name. She did it 9 months before she married Charlie Kirk.
Under her old name, right? So before they got married. And that just makes you wonder again. So if she was going into this trad wife role or whatever, why would she even do that? Like what was happening here?
August, she got married. I think it was May of 2021. This is the defense contractor's name. Think about that. How about that? Lori Fronsvy's last name. She's creating a political record 9 months before she marries Charlie Kirk on May 8th of 2021. Why would someone already inside Turning Point USA need their own independent credentials in the Republican Party machinery? Because there's one person in Erika's orbit who would know exactly why that filing matters, why being in this position actually matters. There's only one that I can see so far, Tyler Boyer. Boyer's own bio confirms that he has served as a Republican precinct committeeman, legislative district chairman, congressional advisory chairman. He chaired the Republican Party of Chandler, Sun Lakes, and Gilbert, Arizona. Then he chaired the Maricopa County Republican Committee in 2014. So then he's become an RNC National Committeeman for Arizona as well, and then COO of Turning Point USA. He also sat on the Arizona Board of Regents. His own bio has confirmed it. The man who built his entire political legacy, his empire, I wouldn't call it a legacy. That's far from there. But his entire empire, I guess you could say, or what he's trying to build, he has already done it. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm not going to make an accusation, but I will ask a question. I'm asking you. Actually, I want to ask Erika, who taught you about this play right here? Because if it wasn't your mother, was it Charlie? And why would you do it before he got married to you? Did he even know about it? To be honest, I don't know if he knew. Maybe he did. But then why would he hide it? What else were you doing, actually? Were you doing more political campaigning or low-key documentation of you being in the system?
So this is a very good question, and this is something we need to find out. Lala said, was this after Erika was proposed to? I think that's the big question, right? Because if she did this after she was proposed to, it's like, oh, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what is happening here? Why would you even go that route if you're supposed to be going into this like trad wife like role or whatever? So that's a good question. It could have happened before she was proposed to. But still, it's weird. It seems like to me she was trying to position herself, to this gentleman's point, in this type of political space so that she could carve out a political lane for herself. I mean, from what we've seen, Erika at one point wanted to be a model. She was a pageant girl. She wanted to do The Amazing Race. She was in music videos. She was a real estate agent. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing different things. But when you portray yourself to be this trad wife and you're out here lecturing women saying you better start this early and it doesn't even look like that was what you wanted to do. It doesn't even look like Erika wanted to be a traditional wife. It looks like Erika wanted to be a star. Like I said, we revealed recently on the show that Erika, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Ben Shapiro were supposed to film a movie together. That don't sound trad wife to me. It just sounds like you just wanted to be a star. And if that's what it is, then just say that. But she literally out here acting like she just sitting at home with the kids, making food, being Susie Homemaker, when she has multiple businesses and she still has the real estate. So it's just wild. So let's go look at the video that both of them are on, because I do want to show you the story of what they said about how they met. And I just listen to some things here. Pay attention.
I met Erika for the first time at this office, Turning Point USA office.
So we met at the office opening, the Turning Point headquarters office opening, the first one, August 2018. And I had no idea what to expect because I was coming into the office from the standpoint of they were potentially going to hire me.
And I knew of Erika. I saw Erika and we had a very brief meeting at the office. And then I had my first conversation with Erika.
He'll tell it differently, so I'll tell you from my side. I was in the Hamptons. I get a random DM on my phone. I have zero service when I'm out there. And all of a sudden this DM flashes up and it's like, Charlie Kirk DM'd you. Because it's so Charlie. August 31st, 2018. Hey, shoot me a text at, and gave me his number. I didn't respond for a few days.
I Instagram messaged her and said I urgently needed to meet with her. And she said, why? And it was partially a job interview and also partially something else.
So when I eventually messaged him back via text, I was like, hey, nice to officially meet you again. What did you want to talk about? Because it was so just random. And he was like, hey, I'm coming into town, into New York City. Let's meet at Bill's Burgers. Mind you, I've lived in Manhattan now for about 5 years. I've never eaten at Bill's Burgers before. So that I guess was a sign like, let's take an adventure tonight for dinner and go find Bill's Burgers and meet your future husband that you have no idea is about to be your future husband.
And so then we had a great time, and it was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her. And now we know how that worked quite well.
He got there first.
And who was the one that suggested, who recommended her for the interview? Wasn't it said that Tyler Boyer was the one who did that? Okay.
Only because he was coming back from Fox and he kind of beat me there. And I got out of my taxi and we get our table, we sit down and he orders. The thing that I love though is he was so sweet to the waitress. So that was something that I immediately noticed, that he was like really kind to them. And we ordered our food, and then that's when the grilling started happening. Like that's when the interview process started happening. So I'm like, okay, this is a legit interview. Like let's go. I'm glad I had my coffee. Like I'm ready to debate you about Aristotle and Socrates, and you want to talk about theology? Let's do it.
Well, I'd never met anyone quite like her. I remember I called Tyler and I said he's going to have to find talent somewhere else. And whatever opening he thought she would fill, that was not going to work. And Tyler was trying to coach me down because he said that she was way out of my league. He's still right, by the way.
So after we got through literally.
So you hear the Tyler part, right? So it's just interesting.
Half of the Constitution, going through why I'm living in New York and how I shouldn't be living in New York, and what my 5-year plan is, what success looks like to me, what I studied in college, why, just like every topic you could imagine that is close to Charlie Kirk's heart is what we discussed and went through. When it was like 3.5 hours, and they were starting to close up, and he was finished with his burger, just sat there, and I'm like looking around like, okay, did I get the job? Like, what's going on? I don't need the job, but did I get it? What's going on? And he goes, I'm not going to hire you. It's like, okay, well, thank goodness I didn't need the job because I'm already doing stuff here in Manhattan. He goes, I'm going to date you.
Pause. That part right there, I wanted you to hear. There's another part coming up I want you to hear. She said, thank goodness that she did not need the job. She did not need the job, she says. She was already doing other things in New York. So why did she apply for this job again? I just think that's important. She said she already had other things going on in New York, so why did she apply for this job? Let's continue.
And I kind of just sat, I froze. I mean, wouldn't you? I literally froze. I was just like, okay, was not expecting this at all. And I was like, do you want to how about we just be friends first? Like, see where it goes.
And I told her I had enough friends and that I didn't want to be friends with her. So that was kind of a non-starter. But if she wanted to date, that would be great. I had enough friends. And I think she still finds that to be very funny, but I meant it.
And without hesitation and like zero hesitation, he goes, I have enough friends in my life. So either we're going to date or we're not. Do I have any time to think about it? Yeah, you have until tomorrow night when I take you out for dinner. And then you can give me your answer at dinner tomorrow night. But know that the offer's on the table and I want to date you. Okay. So then afterwards, it was like, thank you for this meeting. I need to go walk home now so I can process what happened. And I literally remember walking home from like 54th and 5th all the way to 30th and Madison to just kind of process what just happened.
To process what just happened, right? So this part.
And I remember calling my mom. I was like, hey, she's like, hey, how are you? What's going on? How did it go? And I was like, well, I didn't get the job. She's like, oh, that's okay. I was like, but I got a boyfriend. And she's like, oh, that's nice.
She got a boyfriend. So she told her mom she got a boyfriend, according to her. But at that time, she said she was just walking and still processing things. And so let me be honest. I don't think that she was as interested. I'm a woman. I'm saying this as a woman. Guys, don't take offense. I don't think that she was as interested. Like, it kind of reminds me of like the women. Well, no, let's go back to the club. It kind of reminds me as like back in the days, like when we used to go clubbing and I was an undergrad. And if there was a guy that would come up to like, one of my friends and say, hey, can I get your number? Can we go out? Let's go kick it or whatever, like that type of thing. And my friend would say, oh, I can't do Friday because I got an exam that morning. Okay, well, what about the next Friday? Why? Well, I don't know if that's going to be good for me either because I really got to study, or give me some time to think about it. That means you're not really interested. There was a movie called She's Just Not That Into You. And yeah, I don't think that he was her type based on what we saw before of her previous relationships. I don't think she was as interested in him as he was, as interested in her. And I hope that doesn't come off, harshly, but that's just what I'm picking. That's just what my woman vibe is picking up here, that she just wasn't as interested. And she went to that job interview and she said that she didn't need the job She already had things going on in New York. This is why I believe she was sent there. I believe she was sent. And, you know, it is what it is. And now you find out that apparently she was trying to make a political lane for herself right before she got married, but this was during the time when they were still dating. And it does also bring up that question, like maybe even at that point in time, maybe he was starting to wonder, like, or maybe she was starting to wonder if this was the right move for her. And then he proposed. So you may never know, but that's really weird. But considering her family background, considering her family connection with defense in Israel and all these types of things, like this would actually make some sense. We might go a little bit deeper into this Tuesday evening. I have more information that was also just sent to me, also about some other family connections, which is really weird. But the thing is, I think that, again, I think she wanted a path for herself, even if that was political, even if she went into politics. And it seems like she was trying to go down that lane. Then she gets married to Charlie Kirk, and then Charlie Kirk is predicted to be someone who's going to, I guess, eventually try to become president of the United States. And then I guess she figured, well, I guess I can ride this wave too, because then I could be first lady, and then I'll also still be a star. When you put all the pieces together, it just seems like all roads for Erika seem to lead towards some type of stardom or some type of fame. You know? Because usually people don't, and when you're looking for a job, and many of you have been through the job hunting process, a lot of times, like if you already like what you're doing and what you got going on, a lot of times you're not looking for another job when you don't need one that would also require you to move, right? So what was she really doing there? I don't know. Right? So think about those things. Scholar said people who want to be famous for fame's sake and not tied to a skill like acting, singing, etc. are the worst. Yeah. Jonas said Charlie had some game. Now listen to this, because I think this woman did such an amazing job summing this all up. Spot on, Elizabeth Lane. I'm going to be blunt. I've reached the point where I find Erika Kirk deeply disturbing, not because of rumors or gossip, but because of the consistent observable patterns of behavior. To be clear, everything I say in this post is my opinion. I'm not claiming this is a fact. I'm saying this is what I think Erika Kirk is. I come from the world of acting and modeling. I've spent years around social climbers, opportunists, image curators, and people who treat relationships as ladders. That is why I left that world. Most of these people are shallow and harmless. A few are dangerous. Erika falls into the latter category, not because she is ambitious, but because of how calculated and performative her ambition appears to be. I believe she may be a psychopath. I wanted to laugh at that part as well, but what stands out immediately is the reaction she provokes in people, which is very common with psychopaths across the board, including from people who support her publicly. The private reaction is the same. I can't watch her. Not criticism, just physical discomfort. People turn off interviews because the presentation feels artificial to the point of being unbearable. Let me explain. That kind of response does not happen accidentally, and it does not happen often. Research in psychology shows that humans are highly sensitive to emotional incongruence, mismatches between facial expression, tone, and content. When affect appears simulated rather than genuine, the brain registers it as a threat signal. This activates discomfort and avoidance, even if the person cannot consciously explain why. So many of us felt this way, but we could not explain why we could not watch her. Studies on psychopathy particularly those building on the work of psychologists like Robert Hare, describe traits such as rehearsed emotional display and shallow affect. These traits can create what observers experience as uncanny interpersonal dynamic. The discomfort arises and people want to shut it off because most people rarely encounter extreme affective mimicry in everyday life. So the brain, it struggles to categorize what it is detecting. Erika is attractive enough, and she had every tool in her position to sell this organically, except for one thing: emotion. The entire story of what happened could have helped her sell this fully. She really would have been the last person on earth to be a suspect, if not for the FBI's terrible mistakes, TPUSA's lies, and her very fake performance. Plenty of attractive, ambitious women move through media spaces without triggering that response, even though we know what they are. This is about something else, an extreme disconnect between presentation she puts out and perceived authenticity. Erika is not the archetype of a model actress seeking money and fame and then settling into a quiet life with a wealthy, good-looking husband. She's the wolf type who wants to be in the place of that husband. She is not born for a supporting role. She's a decision maker type. She appears to pursue proximity to power, moving fluidly between television, nonprofits, branding opportunities, and ideological spaces that maximize exposure. Her previous partners are guys women like her would date: muscular, jacked, good looking. Even though they are not people with huge potential, they are all somewhat established. They are good stepping stones until the right person shows up. Not looking at her previous partners, I'd say Charlie probably was not her type visually, but he was exactly what she was looking for in a man: potential to be a great power. What Erika was looking for is the same thing Hillary Clinton was looking for when she met Bill. This is exactly what I thought. She recognized that Bill Clinton was her ticket to power, the power she could control, and she was right. She realized she could create a brand out of him and herself, and they're still a brand. The Clintons. This is true. Let's fast forward. Erika saw the brand with Charlie. She also saw Charlie could one day become president of the United States if he wanted to. Charlie had the ear of the most powerful segment of any society: students. He was going to be a very important player in politics, and she was not missing that ride. What's striking is how completely her public identity reshapes itself after that relationship begins. The aesthetic, the tone, the values, the presentation all change. Overnight, the persona shifts into the role that best fits Charlie's world: devoted Christian, modest, supportive housewife. That kind of rapid adaptation is quite impressive for a usual person, but not for a psychopath. They do it all the time. I knew a girl when I was in college. It seemed like every guy that she dated, she would change herself for them, right? Like if they liked basketball, all of a sudden she liked basketball, even though she didn't like basketball, right? Molding themselves into what this person would want them to be. This is why you really got to know yourself, right? In my head, the story goes like this. For a moment, it works. She becomes the wife of a rising political figure with access to donors, institutions, and national platforms. At that point, the ceiling isn't social media influence. It's empire building, foundations, global tech, a legacy brand, Kirk's. It's obvious that Charlie listens to her, whether it's about donors or the trajectory of Turning Point USA. The most influential figure in any mentally healthy man's life is his wife. She is going to be the biggest influence, and that's just how it is. That is why you need to pick your partner wisely. Everything was going well until Charlie makes decisions based on conscience rather than expansion and money. Oh, girl, you never lied. This is true. Expansion and money. He turns down money. He refuses to play dirty tricks. I'm assuming someone like Erika, who married into this because she had a vision for this brand, would not be very happy. that the life she appears to have signed up for, power couple, expanding influence, historical relevance, was collapsing into something else entirely. Yeah. Domesticity, housewife, kids, and now Charlie's refusing to accept the money that can make him a global power. A supporting role instead of center stage is not her thing. That's the important part. And you can tell that. The Erika that we saw in the videos with the ex-boyfriends, that Erika looks very happy. And ideally, I believe it. I do not think she is meant to be in a supporting role. But she was willing to play it because she saw that Charlie was probably going places, like president of the United States. And she was willing to be, hey, I could be first lady. Right? Her husband died a few days ago. When she walks onto the stage as if she was born there. Comes naturally to her. She knows it and she wants it. Just days after her husband's death, she was already laying out ambitious plans for the company over Zoom. It's obvious she was always deeply involved in the business and knew exactly where to pick up when her turn came. What people struggle to watch, what makes the screen unbearable, is not grief. It's the absence of emotional continuity. Performances can be learned. Trust me, as a former actress, I can speak to that. But emotion can't be improvised or mimicked if you never experienced it. That's why I think we are dealing with a psychopath who has never really experienced these emotions and does not know how to play them. And audiences feel it instantly. It's fake. Again, just my opinion. This isn't an accusation of crime. I'm not claiming this is what happened and it's a fact. It's an analysis I made after watching her long enough. And quite honestly, I'm sick of this shit. I think she hit the nail on the head there. And that's why when people are seeing more and more about Erika's past, that's why people, are kind of like taken aback, because that wasn't the role that people saw her play as Charlie's wife. People can adapt to whatever role they need to adapt to, especially if they had experience doing it. But it was very obvious to me after seeing that video from that gentleman there that at some point, it seemed like near 2020, she was trying to carve out a political lane for herself. So this is not a supportive role person. This is a center stage woman. And I think that she has fooled a lot of people. All right, ladies and gents, that is it for me tonight. Eric's going to come in and close out the show. And yeah, it's
Hey,
it's
did you
been...
see we hit 350K subs?
Oh, really?
Yep. That's another
Oh,
nice
no, I
round
didn't
number.
see that. Oh, wow. That's wild. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much. That is awesome. I just have to say this. I'm sorry. Measured Man said, where the hell them fake kids at? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of hoopla around that as well. So I don't know. But I think people are just starting to, see through it. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Skylar.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting, that article just talking about the whole emotion and lack of emotion and connection and just this human type of uncanny valley type of being able to sense something's off there. So yeah, I did think that was interesting and on point.
Yeah, that piece got over 9.1 million views. I think she hit the nail on the head. Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna let you get on with your Sunday.
All righty, guys. All right, guys. I will see you live Tuesday evening. Thank you guys so much for your time again. Tara Reade was having connectivity issues. She's abroad. I'm going to try to see if I can sit down with her and do a recording of the interview at another time. But I know she's having connection issues right now. So just letting you guys know.
All right.
Bye. All right, guys, have a good night.
Keep up that fight. I'm going to do a little show closeout here. And one thing I did want to hit on is that there is a new, I'll put it in the chat, a new 11 Demand Substack post that actually connects into this Erika Kirk story. So I'm going to do a little readout of that here. Let's bring that up here, that there we go. So this is the new post on the 11 Demand Substack that you can get. You can get at it through 11demands.org, and it's titled "The Psychopathic Class." There's been discussion lately about Erika Kirk asking the question, is she a psychopath? Now, we can look at the definition of antisocial personality disorder, in this case from the Cleveland Clinic, as the tendency to manipulate or deceive people, exploit or take advantage of someone for your own benefit, disregard the law or the rights of others, and feel no remorse for your actions. People are put off by Erika Kirk because they sense her lack of sincerity and real empathy. It feels like she's acting out a part and trying to profit from the situation. But it's much more than just Erika Kirk. We are currently being held hostage by a class of psychopaths, and they have a name, the billionaires. They will do anything to increase their wealth and power, and they are free from the constraints of empathy and human connection. They are mentally ill and should be given therapy, not all our money and resources. It's up to us, the healthier human beings who can connect and collaborate, to identify what we're dealing with here and what needs to be done about it. It starts with having real demands. The 11 Demands list provides an outline of what a better world looks like, and it has the core solution. We must fix big money in politics and government. So let's work together to be the spark that ignites the movement to get us there. And you can check out the strategy and more at 11demands.org. And if we jump over into that, we have our 11demands.org website and the mentioned 11 Demands list. And yet at the top of the list is the fix big money in politics and government, because that's where, when you connect the dots, it all comes back to we have to have a decorrupted working government, or we're not going to be able to fix anything else, and I think it's just any serious look at how we get to a better world, I think has to go through that path. But also in terms of what that better world looks like, right? And having a healthy, functioning, working society, that's what the 11 Demands list can also be viewed as a picture of what that looks like. You're talking about healthcare for all. You're talking about a minimum standard of living for everyone, not just, some crumbs of a bit of higher minimum wage. We're talking about the whole thing, housing, education, the whole bit. Ending the wars, right? A better world certainly looks like a world without wars. If you want peace, you need to demand peace. There's racial and criminal justice reform. There's responding to the climate emergency. There's rejecting censorship, because you can't have a free and open world with that kind of censorship. There's immigration reform, and of course, getting rid of ICE and the militarized national police that's turned into. You have to have an election system that we can trust. It gets into ranked choice voting, open source systems and whatnot. Of course, you can't have a functioning democracy unless you can count the votes. These get into core issues, again, of what the healthier functioning society looks like. And then the last two, get into things of the economics, taxation and funding, gets into, what we do. Taxes right now are a vehicle that help the billionaires, right? Because they manage to get us taxed way more than them, and that leads to wealth inequality. We can have a world where taxes do the opposite, but we're going to have to identify how we do that and demand it. And then democratize the enterprise gets into things like worker co-op models and democratizing, breaking up these big corporations and turning them into democratized institutions. So, in terms of the whole thing, it's about imagining what that better world looks like and demanding it, and recognizing that right now the people who are in charge are not healthy. They are literally psychopaths, and they should be looked at and viewed as such, and we need to demand a world that works for the 99% and not for them. So, if that sounds good to you, check out what's at 11demands.org and the strategy, and let's think about how we can organize things and get people together towards that better world. There you go. I'll put in the chat one more time just because it's handy here, the link to that article. And let's see what we got for some super chats up here in the queue. And some of these go back to the earlier story. Thanks for the super chat. Measured Man. My question is, how many of those children are missing? We have been working on this for the past week, just trying. It's too much. And, the best thing I can say, too, is we have to have that decorrupted government, because then you can have at least, you can have a law enforcement agency that at least has a chance of dealing with things like this and will prosecute the powerful. But it doesn't happen as long as the powerful run the government. So, it's up to us to focus on that corruption and fixing it so we can get to a world where these things are better. Man, thanks for this one, Brad Gilbert, who says, new media, same as the old media. Gatekeeper media is the right term. Call them out for including Megyn Kelly, Ultra, Ever Ken Dance, and Fed Fuentes. All right. And thanks for this one, Mountain Star Studio. See investigator Derek Bro's Pyramid of Power. And shout out to Nat the Cat for this one. When does being a passive audience to evil become complicity? Asking for 8.3 billion friends. And, and I would say it gets better when we get clear about our demands and organizing around them. Shout out to Hallie Watley for becoming a new member on YouTube. And thanks Steve Bowen, who says, this super chat, who says, we went to Afghanistan after 9/11, and George W. Bush went into Iraq in 2003. Yeah, funny how those things worked out, that it all just happened to work out for big money for the military-industrial complex and the billionaires. That's the thing they're good at, is making sure that public money goes into their coffers. That's what that's what we have to identify and deal with. Thanks for this one, James Bondage, who says, it's a big club and glad we're not in it. The more you find out about everything, the worse it gets. Yeah, I mean, that is part. I hear you. It's that is part of what happens with this stuff, is that when you start digging in, if you're coming from a place where you're not up to speed on all these things, and you start digging in, and it just ends up being so much worse than you even imagined, it can be challenging, shall we say. I think it's part of how power operates. It's the powerful, they can be just so ruthless and so outrageous that it's hard to wrap your head around, and it's hard, they're really that bad, and the answer is, yes, they are really that bad, and yes, we're going to have to get that clear and that organized to make a better world, that represents us, not them. Thanks to this one, Mountain Star Studio, who says, all our agents or assets, wittingly or not. And thanks, Mr. Roger Meadows, for this super chat, who says, Bush with Jenga pieces. It wouldn't be the first time in our government that our government were willing to sacrifice a few civilians to carry out an imperialist agenda. JFK, up northwards, FDR, Pearl Harbor, LBJ, Tonkin, and U.S. Liberty. And thanks for this one, Roger. It says, Jada Kiss was the artist Sabrina. And thanks for this one, Roger. He says, time to 17th Amendment U.S. AG call for direct elections. Thanks for this super chat, Mountain Star Studio. He says, avoid GIGO and participate in web by Ian Carroll. And thanks, Roger. He says, you can't show, but can you put link to docs in chat? Yeah, when we have specific things, we try to put the links in. So we're trying, Roger. We're trying. And thanks for the super chat, Taurus's Love Luxury. Taurus's Love Luxury, who says Gates going to Ireland 2016. Melinda stayed till 2021. Yeah, I think kind of raising some questions about maybe Melinda's story there. Melinda Gates. And thanks for this one, also Mountain Star Studio. Religion as a fog of war to gain valued resources. And thanks much for the super chat. Yap will say, I know one thing since YouTube changed their system here, so it doesn't show the name; it just shows the handles. It does get harder to read out people's names and whatnot. But thanks YouTube. All right, and real thanks to Potato Gun Camper for the super chat, who says, "Put some respect on Erika's gold digging." There you go. And thanks Mountain Star, who says, trained honeypot in the house, Fort Connections. All right. And thanks for this super chat. Mullen Flower, who says, sorry, not on the topic, but whoa, new evidence links 32 billion farmer fraud to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Say what? Sounds interesting. We'll keep an eye out for that one. In Mountain Star Studio, I had a super chat saying, well, I blocked. Not sure what that's about, but yeah, I don't think you're blocked to my knowledge. And shout out to Ray, becoming a new YouTube member. Appreciate that. And thanks for the super chat, Cammy. Who says, Charlie deserved better than her. And also Cammy, who says, has anyone been following Jesse on Fire? I don't know, but we'll keep an eye out. And thanks for this super chat, Mountain Star. Quote, that worked quite well, unquote. WTF teamwork, RIP Charlie Kirk. And a shout out to Staccato David for being a member for 39 months. That's a good amount of time. Yeah, I've noticed the name Staccato David around for a good while now. And he used his special longtime member chat here to say, I am 99% sure she made a video saying they met in Israel and her mom told her to talk to him. All right. You can also keep an eye out for that one. And still working our way through our queue here. Thanks for this one. NSL Cap. He says 90% she ate at Bill's Burgers a lot pre-Charlie. So NSL Cap, you're saying that Erika Kirk isn't even being truthful about eating at Bill's Burgers. That all right? We'll have to process that accusation. We'll see. And thanks for this one, Cammy. He says Jesse on Fire thinks Charlie is alive. It's an interesting idea. I think we would need to see some proof of that, or some strong evidence to really we need some strong evidence to take that assertion seriously, or potentially. Anyways, I'm happy. I'd like to see it investigated if there's something we can see, on all these things. But we do have to follow evidence, and where it takes us. And there was a saying. A quote that's attributed to Carl Sagan, who was an astronomer and a science educator years ago. The oldies will remember Carl Sagan, but one of my favorite quotes from Carl Sagan was, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And it's about, just having a very scientific point of view. And so when someone makes an extraordinary claim, from a scientific point of view, you don't necessarily dismiss the claim, but you say, well, that's pretty extraordinary. So you will need to show me your extraordinary evidence to back up your extraordinary claim. It's just about a way of thinking about being open, but also following evidence. I'll just say. And thanks for this one, Kenman G, who says her type was men with small heads. All right. And thanks for this super chat. One box of one. One box, one of one. Okay. It says, Erica's eyes, they remind me of those folks when you decide to visit their antique shops. Oh, all right. Interesting. And thanks also for this one, Mountain Star Studio. The movie Body Heat shows Island Escape versus CEO Vibe. And Mountain Star also, thanks for this one, saying so many were connected and trained at Fort Hakuba. And thanks for this one now, Wandy USA. He said, sadly, USA got the bill for all those wars too. Yeah, and in general, I mean, there's that saying, war is a racket, and it's we all pay for the wars is what it comes down to. And that's we need to get a government that spends money on us, not on wars, which is just a bank shot for spending money on the billionaires. So these things all connect into decorrupting our government, really. And thanks much, Mountain Star Studio, for this chat. He says, thanks for A+ investigative reporting, Sabby and Eric. Thanks. Appreciate that. And all credit for the reporting, investigating part goes to Sabrina. I help out where I can. And we got one more chat out here on the out on Rumble. Let's see if I can find that and cue that up. Here it is. Just another couple of clicks here. There we go. And thanks much for the Rumble rant from T-Bone316, who says, Sabby, your show is always excellent. Your heart is amazing. Thanks for all you do. And mad respect to Eric also. All right. You're almost making me blush with compliments, but appreciate that. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Oh, wait, I'm going to show you one more thing, for those of you who waited around. Let's finish up on something a little more fun here with a couple of clicks. I think I can bring this up here. There's a debate a lot of times about cats and dogs, right? About are cats smarter or a dog smarter, and about one better than the other. You can also talk about cat versus dog reflexes, and so. We talk about evidence. I think we'll show a little bit of evidence of cat reflexes versus dog reflexes. So let me just cue this up. So we'll show this, and then we I'll pose this as a bit of evidence of cat reflexes versus dog reflexes. And this was just something I came across here on Twitter. So let's see here. So we're going to start with the cat, actually. All right, here's a cat, and you're dropping the cat from 4 inches, 2 inches, right on the feet. There's some reflexes. All right, let's try it with a dog. Oh, the puppy. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Well, it's the puppy's cute and trusting, but the reflexes, I think we got to give it to the cats here. We'll try one more go here. Oh, okay. So there you go. A little contribution to the cats versus dog debate to close out the show here. But no, all love to all the kitties and dogs out there and all their owners. And if everyone had cats and dogs, maybe if the people in power all had cats and dogs, they'd have more empathy and we'd have a better world. But we love our cats and dogs, whether or not they have fast reflexes. Anyways, I've been droning on long enough here to close out our Sunday. You can catch Sabby Live next, should be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, our usual schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I hope you all enjoyed the show. Many thanks to everyone. We'll catch you then. And until then, have a good night. Keep up that fight. Love your cats and dogs, and love other people's if you don't have any. And thanks all. We'll see you next time. Thanks.